Hello, music friends. I'm excited today to have Angela Breidenbach with me. She's going to talk about her Rocky Mountain series?
Queen of the Rockies series.
Queen of the Rockies series. Yes. And she is a fellow musician and author. She loves to write about, I guess, the kind of the Northwest, the Rocky Mountain area in Montana. And she also incorporates a lot of musical elements in her fiction. So welcome, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me. I was just really delighted, Ashley. Thank you. And what
It's
a
my
fun
pleasure.
Christmas thing. Have you noticed that we're both wearing green today?
We are, because we're recording this literally, I guess it's about
A week
9 days before Christmas. Yes, so it's perfect. Well, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your journey in writing and music?
It's been quite the journey. And I think that's what, if I could encourage anyone out there wanting to write their story, just start learning. I started learning because I was writing articles and youth group ministry programs. And then I started selling to Group Magazine. And it was the first time I'd ever, sold anything. And it was really funny because it came out, that was in like 1999, I think, when I was a youth group minister. And
nice.
it was funny because it came out in a book in 2006, and I had no idea because it had been in their magazine, and I didn't understand rights or anything like that, and signed all my rights away. And I thought, oh my goodness, my first book is coming out, and it was like 2011, like 10 years ago, right? My first book came out,
right?
Only to find out it was not my first book. That I had
Wow, I haven't heard of that happening before.
Yeah, I'd had the piece included in the 2006 book from Group Magazine, and it has the craziest title ever. But if you're a youth group worker, you really want to get it. But it's something, and I get nothing for it because I signed the rights away. Yeah.
Oh, that is.
But it was something like the best of Group Magazines. I don't know. You can find it on my website because I was really tickled by it. And
that was your first book.
Yeah, that was my first book without even knowing it. Yeah. Since then, I've written about 18 books, and I write a lot of historical fiction with elements of romance because it's more about the history than the romance for me. But I want it to be entertaining and enjoyable. And I write clean and wholesome, sweet. Sometimes there's elements of faith in there. When I add faith in there, I add it because it's crucial for the characters. And a lot of people try to separate those things out these days. But in all reality, you believe in something. And so do your characters. And so I do add all of their holistic element so that they become more real. And I like to write, I love writing about, Montana, but I also love to write about Scotland and Pennsylvania and that kind of a thing. So it's really fun. But I live in Montana, and this idea started from some research that I was doing, and it just blossomed. And so Helena is called the Queen City of the Rockies. And so this is the Queen of the Rockies series. And I had always wanted to play the harp. It was like this really big deal to me. Always wanted to play the harp. And I got stuck playing the oboe. And
that wasn't your thing.
No, to all you oboe players out there, you oboists, I think you're wonderful, but it was not the instrument for me. It embarrassed me as a fifth grader to 10th grader to be the one that they always wanted to feature in a solo, but I always sounded like a squawking duck. So it didn't take to me.
that wasn't your calling. Yes, they do get to tune the orchestra though, which is pretty cool. Yes.
No, they didn't want me to.
When did you switch to harp then? When did you switch over?
Just about a year and a half ago. And
oh wow.
Yeah, so I've been trained in voice all my life, and I can play piano a little bit. I'm no great pianist, but I can do. I did a first couple of years in piano, as probably a lot of kids did. But my great instrumental love has always been the harp, and I could just sit and stare and stare. And there's a restaurant in Las Vegas, which is actually where I was born. And
really?
Yes, and it's an over 100-year-old restaurant called the Bootlegger. and there
Oh,
is
cute.
a master harpist there on Thursday nights. And so I happened to go one night, not knowing this, and found out about him. And so every time I go to Vegas, I try to go to the bootlegger and just listen to him because he's amazing, so it's really fun to me. I'm being pushed
I
around here
never
a
thought
lot.
of Vegas as like the harp, I never put those two
No,
together, but
no,
that would
you
be
wouldn't at
wonderful.
all. Yeah. And so
Yes.
he really inspired me. And then I ended up buying a harp for myself, and I had it specially made, and I've been trying to learn it, but of course work and writing and family and all.
Right.
I'm just an advanced beginner. I can pluck out a couple tunes and entertain myself so far, but I haven't been able to be as consistent as I wanted. And I give myself grace on that, because it's like life is busy, life is crazy. And I'm a genealogist and a writer and a speaker. And so I consider right now harp my therapeutic hobby. And it's
Yes.
just for me. And I love that. And I think some people forget that your hobby is about bringing joy to your own life. And it's nice if that brings joy to others, but it's really for me, you know.
For you.
So that's where the harpist came from in Queen of the Rockies. Was she needed a talent for this event that she was going to be in, and so I made her a harpist because it fit with 1889, and it was a very
Oh, yes,
popular.
that would make sense. Well, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about Queen of the Rockies, and maybe if you even want to read a little passage about the harp, if you're willing to.
Oh, sure. Thank you for asking. That's fun. Her name is Callista, and in 1889, Montana became a state. Well, what a lot of people didn't realize was Montana and the city of Helena were on the brink of becoming unimportant because the gold mines and the silver mines and all these things were closing, and it's getting into the end of the Gilded Age. So this is a Gilded Age romance, and she's the first book in a 6-book series. And I loved getting into the research for her, and then found all these other little tidbits. So I added in some genealogically important information for people that want to maybe trace their family history in Montana, and all of these people that were crucial to Montana becoming a state. So she became a state in the fall of 1889. And all these people
Oh,
are like,
nice.
now what are we going to do? They think that we're the Wild West. And yet, this city, Helena, Montana, was one of the most modern and elegant cities of, of the time. It was one of the first cities that had full electricity, and they had sidewalks, and they had this hilarious battle between two real men that owned different train lines, and they went through Helena as trolleys. But these two men didn't like each other, and they were so competitive to each other, they wouldn't allow their trolleys, one going east west, one going north south, to meet up on time. So everybody's always late to work. And when I
Oh, no.
found that, it just cracked me up. And I was like, oh, I
Yes,
want to know more, right? So I put that into this
that
fun
is
book. And
so
so
cool.
yeah, and this little gal, she's Callista is a debutante, which was a thing, at the time. We don't really
In
have much
1889.
about.
Yes.
Yeah, and she steals a child off the streets, and she ends up using music as therapy with this little girl, Leah. And
Oh,
we were
wow.
talking prior to starting about our love of cats, right? Well, there's
Yes.
a little kitten that is in this
Oh,
story, and
so
it's
sweet.
really fun. So but chapter 17 has a bit about the harp and the music that I used in it, and it's set at Christmas time, which is really fun. So
That's why
they
we
did.
we decided we would go ahead and do the interview now instead of waiting till the new year, because I thought, oh, this will be a Christmas gem. We've got to talk about it.
Fun. Well, and the thing I have to give a disclaimer here is that I've never read this out loud before.
Oh, sorry, I kind of put you on the spot. You don't have
This will
to,
be
but I
fun.
always think it's
No,
kind
no,
of fun
no,
to
this will be
hear the
fun.
passages, since music fiction is my thing, and I like to hear how it plays a
I
role in
I
fiction.
I want to
So,
know more about that from you. I think that's fascinating and brilliant, by the way. Absolutely brilliant.
oh, thank you.
Um, people should follow you on Facebook so that they can get the beautiful music that you and your family do.
Oh, thank you.
I apologize. In Helena, Montana in 1889, Callista practiced the music for the talent show on Saturday. She had 3 days to master and memorize this piece on her double action pedal harp. Tchaikovsky's Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy would be lovely if she could concentrate on the fingerings. Callista leaned into the instrument and pressed her cheek into the smooth, intricately carved wood. Why couldn't she get her brain and her hands to connect? The harp had been her favorite instrument, and to the surprise of the sisters assigned to teach music at St. Benedict's. The thought of performing in public set her into a dither, but her fingers stumbled on the strings as Callista plucked the chords for this classical piece. She could play Away in a Manger and set her mind on Leah's face. Every night, Callista, after she excused herself, tucked Leah in and sang the Christmas song for Leah's lullaby. Leah knew the sound of the notes and little by little found them with the fingerings Callista taught on the penny whistle. When everyone went about their business in town and the house emptied, Callista and Leah had spent hours learning the simple pipe so Leah could entertain herself. Callista plucked the strings on her harp, and Leah would match the tone on the penny whistle. Then she'd show her what it looked like on the piece of music. The little girl picked up the instrument as if she'd been born with it in her hand. Music flowed easily for Leah. She continued to grow in confidence and beauty as nourishment and care wrapped her in love. Music was fast becoming a healthy, expressive outlet for her. Callista stopped playing as a pang flicked at her heart. Regardless of the outcome, Leah would be gone in a few days. What would she do if the pageant winnings went to someone else? This was her chance to buy Leah's freedom and find her a new home. Without the money for the dead woman's debt, no, under no circumstances would she give Leah back to that monstrous man. So
wow, that's caught my attention.
Yes. It goes on and there's more about music, but
oh yes, I love how it speaks though to, kind of touching her soul and expressing her emotions. And I think that's what music does for people.
I think so too. And I think sometimes when I am deeply in, like you're mourning someone, I've lost parents and things like that, grandparents, it's like certain songs really help me. And like you said, they minister to your soul. Sometimes they bring you back to humor. And my grandpa was born in 1883, and he was
really,
yeah. And that's
right around that same time period then, except he would have been a baby, but or a young child.
Right. But he would have been 6 years old in this time frame. And a lot of what I write is kind of in the fascination of the time frame of my grandparents, because they were so much older. And ironically, I was a very young mom. And I wondered what life was like for them. And Christmas, since we're, talking Christmas, my grandpa's family and my grandma's family, they played music. My grandma had a pedal organ that you had to pedal to get the music to work, right? And I grew up playing with her pedal organ. And my grandpa played harmonica. And so Christmases were very, if you want to call it, I don't know, Gilded Age, Victorian, that sort of Christmas that's in your mind of the olden times or whatever. That was what my grandparents grew up with, entertaining each other with song and poetry. My grandpa wrote 2 poems. I have a beautiful poem by him. Hold on.
Yes.
This is so cool. Because
that's what I love, that they had to find their own entertainment and provide it for each other, as opposed to, just mindlessly absorbing entertainment, but that they were engaged in the creation of entertainment.
And so for me, it's like, I do teach my boy cubs, those are my grandsons or my boy cubs, piano. Cute. And boy cub 1 that came over, they all have to prepare a piece for me for Christmas Eve, when we do Christmas Eve at our house. And and the youngest one, he came over, and he's just barely able to even reach the keys with his little fingers. And he said to me, Grammy, so I'm gonna sing you 2 or 3 more songs. And I'm like, you are? And he's like, yes, I have songs for Christmas Eve. Okay.
That's
You know, and
cute. Oh,
I think it's crucial that we do this, that it's not just singing carols, you know, together, but it's that real world connectivity that we don't get unless we do
yes.
things like this, talk to each other face to face, you know, and
Right.
um, entertain each other. And if anyway, I framed it. And this is a poem my grandpa
Oh,
wrote,
beautiful.
and his name was Bertrand Rutherford Nelson, and he's from
Nice.
Scottish, Irish, and English stock, right? And he
Right.
says, "You tell me I'm getting old." And this is so perfect for me right now at 57 years old. I think, how old were you when you wrote this, Grandpa? You know,
Right.
but he would actually recite this from memory at our family gatherings and things like that. And it's really poignant. So tell me what you think, okay?
Yes.
You're on the ball, on the wire here right now. Ready? Okay. So
All
this is my
right.
grandpa's writing, not mine. Okay. You tell me I'm getting old. I tell you that's not so. The house I live in is worn out, and that, of course, I know. It's weathered many a gale. I'm really not surprised to know it's getting somewhat frail. The colors changing on the roof, the windows getting dim, the walls a bit transparent and looking rather bare. The foundation's not so steady as once it used to be. My house isn't me. My few short years can't make me old. I feel I'm in my youth. Eternity lies just ahead, a life of joy and truth. I'm going to be young forever. There. Life will go on. It's great. You tell me I'm getting old. You just don't understand. The dwelling is my little house. It's young and gay and bright, just starting on a life to last throughout eternal day. You only see the outside, which is all that most folks see. You tell me that I am getting old. You've mixed my house with me.
Oh, that's adorable. That's beautiful.
Isn't
Oh,
it?
how he
I mean, it's
combines kind
not,
of that physical house with his spirit. Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
fascinating.
And what's really fascinating to me is it's not even perfect. As a writer, I can look through and go, oh, he's got his, he's missing it. But
When
at
you're
the
trying to
same
get your
time,
meter or your rhyme.
yes, exactly. And yet at the same time, I look at this and I'm like, I love that. It spoke to me my whole life, and he
Yes.
did it probably much better than I would in, performance for the family, Christmas, Easter, birthdays. And
Oh,
he
that's so
would play his
sweet.
harmonica and he would sing. And one of the songs he would sing is "Oh Happy Day," which is an old, hymn. And then he would also do "Listen to the Mockingbird." And,
Okay.
I'm sure a few others, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind. And so when I
Right.
think of him, I can partially recite this in my mind, and I think of "Listen to the mockingbird, listen to the mockingbird," right? And you
Right.
start
And
to
it still stays
realize,
in your soul.
yeah, and how poetry is a part of music, and there's in
Yes.
writing, how you make sure you've got either the alliteration or the rhyme or the pentameter,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and it's just there's so many different things about it that really speak into our souls and who we are.
Yes.
And I love that you are really about adding music to your writing, because I think it is a part of our soul. And I think we were meant to be
Yes.
that way. Yeah.
I think so. And I think they're connected, like you were just saying, the poetry and music, there's such a fine line between those two because they really, meld together. I'm also the granddaughter of a poet and she's still alive. She's 95, just had her birthday this week.
Nice.
Yes.
Woohoo!
And so, woo, she's still writing and she's still playing the piano. So she's just such an
Wow.
inspiration. And for her, yeah, just the poetry and the music all, comes together.
Yeah,
So,
it's just this interwoven, piece of us that I don't know. I think I'm a writer because my grandpa was a writer, and
right,
and yet even then the world was so different, the way that they did things. They didn't care that it wasn't perfect, and we're so worried about being perfect today that I just
right.
think that we need to stop that.
Let the art kind of flow and not, if you wait until it is perfect, sometimes you'll never, you'll never produce the art, whether it's music or poetry or fiction writing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Well,
So
that was
that,
absolutely beautiful and definitely spoke to my heart. And it's kind of fun to feel like you're connecting to somebody from that was born in 1883 is just really,
mhm.
a really special connection. So
And I think growing
yes.
up with that kind of a holidays and expectations of sharing your performance, we were talking earlier too about the fact that, you've grown up performing. Well, that was just an expectation. And I
Right.
knew, the words to all those hymns and things like that, because that was how I connected with my grandpa. And
Yes.
so, and my grandma too. So yeah, but I'm trying to make sure that Muse, if anybody knows us out there as Muse and Writer, he is now behind my computer, pestering.
Oh, nice. Yes, he knows you're on an interview.
He
And
does, and now
so,
he's playing with even. I brought up a piece of music, and he's
oh,
what child is
he
this?
finds that fascinating. What child is this? Well, I
Yes,
have to
and
ask,
so
what's your favorite Christmas hymn since we're in Christmas time?
I have I have a couple of favorites. I love What Child Is This? It comes out of that, um, definitely that Celtic background, and things
Yes.
that I love. I love Silent Night because I had a music teacher whose name was Mr. Sheehan, and I adored him. And he's passed recently, but ever since I was a teenager and I was in jazz choir, the um, the song Silent Night, he had us create our own harmonies and do it
Oh,
jazz style,
nice.
like a jazz ballad. And
Hmm.
so, and of course, every church plays it, the last song of midnight mass, right? And so
Right.
that one is really close to my heart. It makes me think of Mr. Sheehan. It makes me think of Jesus. It makes me think of the blessings in my life. Even though it's about, the birth of Jesus, there's so much emotion tied up in that song for me.
Yes.
Oh, so much. And then there's one that is just um, it's weirdly the repetition of it, but the Carol of the Bells.
Oh,
Da,
right.
da,
Yes.
da, 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 da. Yeah, I'm trying to learn on a harp and it's really comical.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get the polyphony, trying to have all the multiple layers.
Oh my gosh, forget it. Yeah, I'm right now just trying to do left-hand chords and and it's going slow. So
That's okay. That's okay. Maybe by next Christmas you'll be like, I've got it.
yeah, I can do
So,
What Child Is This slowly on the harp, but not
oh,
fast enough for performance. I can do, a few things like that, but yeah. So
well, you're still a
anyway,
fairly beginner at the harp, but seasoned
yes.
musician. So, yeah. Well, let
Yeah.
us know a little bit about where we can find you and your books and the giveaway that you're willing to offer listeners or viewers.
Oh, I'm so excited for this
All
giveaway.
the fun goodies.
Fun goodies. The Queen of the Rockies series actually has 6 books in it, and they started releasing September, October, November, December, and January, February. Well, I've just
Yay.
finished turning in the January and February books, and the covers are just gorgeous. So I would like to give away to one of your viewers the entire series of Queen of the Rockies in ebook. All I
Thank
need from
you.
them is their email, and then it'll come across as a gift. And they'll get all 6 books. They'll get 5 and 6 early because they're not out.
Really? Oh,
Mhm.
nice. So you get the special offer. Yes.
Mhm.
So this is open to any of my subscribers can
Anyone all over
kind
the
of
world,
apply.
because it's an ebook.
Yes, yes. So you don't even have to be in the US. I know that I feel like music is such an international language. So I've worked to have, my audience not be just US centric. So yes, any of my subscribers can um, maybe make a comment on either Facebook or YouTube on this post, and we'll enter you for the drawing. And I will let you know before Christmas if you won, hopefully within the next couple days. And that way you can have the chance to read it over your Christmas, or at least start reading over your Christmas holiday. So
Will really be fun.
thanks.
And both book 1 and book 2 really do have, book 1 is definitely Christmas, and it goes through 3 Kings Day on January 6th. And
Oh,
book
Epiphany.
2 kind of does a year-round thing, but they do have a big moment that fits the Christmas theme. So yeah,
Oh,
and there's
perfect.
lots of music in that one too. So
Yes, so perfect. Is that the music teacher one? Is that right?
yes.
Yes, so
Song of the
perfect.
Rockies.
Well, people are on Christmas break, so perfect reading. All
Mhm.
right. And where can they also follow you and meet your kitty muse and everything online?
Thank you for asking. My name is Angela Breidenbach, and you can find me at angelabreidenbach.com. That's Breidenbach. And any social media is just, it's shortened because I have such a long name. So it's just shortened to Ange, A-N-G, Ange Breidenbach. And that's any social media that, you'll find me there. So, and Muse he just pops up when he feels like posting a photo and typing in his conversation with me on anything from Instagram to Facebook and, my website, wherever. And he
Perfect.
is
Perfect.
sitting
Perfect. No
here.
pun intended.
No, right? And of course there is a pun intended. He's sitting here.
There we
So if
go.
you haven't
Here he
met,
is. Oh, he even made an appearance.
yeah. Muse made an
Oh,
appearance. He's been chasing down cords and things here. So it was either grab
yes.
him or the computer was going down.
Hey, that we'd rather see him. So, well, thanks so much for being here with us, Angela and Muse. And I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, Ashley, and to all of your
Oh,
viewers. Thank you for being here.
thank you.